They told you diamonds are rare. They told you they're priceless. They told you a diamond is forever. But what if everything you've ever believed about diamonds was a lie? This isn't just a luxury industry. It's a $100 billion empire built on manipulation, scarcity, and one of the greatest marketing scams in modern history. And the truth, it's darker and more powerful than you ever imagined. Welcome to Empire Secrets. For centuries, diamonds were nothing more than a curiosity. Small, clear stones found in a handful of riverbeds in India and Brazil. They were rare, yes, but not nearly as valuable as gold, silver, or even rubies. They weren't seen as a necessity, a luxury, or even a meaningful status symbol. So, how did diamonds going from being insignificant rocks to a $100 billion empire? To understand the rise of the diamond industry, we have to go back to 1876 in South Africa. A 15-year-old boy named Erasmus Jacobs stumbled upon a peculiar shiny rock on the banks of the Orange River. That rock turned out to be a 21-carat diamond, the first major diamond discovery in Africa. It was a moment that changed history. Before this, diamonds were mined only in small quantities in India and Brazil, keeping supply naturally low. But South Africa was different. Beneath its soil lay hundreds of millions of carats of diamonds, waiting to be extracted. Within a few years, thousands of fortune seekers rushed to South Africa in search of diamonds, leading to the Kimberley Diamond Rush, the moment that would transform the diamond industry forever. One man, however, saw an opportunity greater than anyone else: Cecil Rhodes. Rhodes understood something that most people didn't. Diamonds were only valuable if they remained scarce. If too many diamonds flooded the market, their price would collapse. So instead of letting the free market dictate supply and demand, Rhodes decided to do something that no one else had done before. He built a monopoly. With ruthless efficiency, he bought out competing diamond mines and consolidated them into a single, all-powerful company, De Beers. By 1888, De Beers controlled 90% of the world's diamond supply. But Rhodes wasn't just a businessman, he was a strategist, and his strategy would shape the diamond market for the next 100 years. Their control was absolute. If you wanted to buy diamonds, you had to go through De Beers. The company dictated prices, controlled supply, and decided who got access to diamonds and who didn't. But the real genius of De Beers wasn't just in owning the mines. It was in how they manipulated the global diamond market. De Beers pioneered a strategy called supply control. Instead of selling all the diamonds they mined, they stockpiled them in vaults, releasing only enough to keep prices high. Think about that. Diamonds weren't rare, but De Beers made them seem rare. Governments, jewelers, and even entire nations depended on them. But the monopoly wasn't enough. De Beers knew that scarcity alone wouldn't make diamonds desirable. They needed something more. They needed a cultural shift. So they launched one of the greatest marketing campaigns in history. Before the 1930s, diamonds weren't even the most popular choice for engagement rings. Most people preferred sapphires, rubies, or even simple gold bands. De Beers decided to change that. They hired the advertising agency N.W. Ayer & Son, and together they created a marketing campaign so effective, so psychologically manipulative, that it changed the world forever. They invented a new cultural narrative, that a diamond was the ultimate symbol of love, commitment, and social status. In 1947, they introduced 4 words that would define the diamond industry. A diamond is forever. The phrase was genius. It suggested that diamonds, like love, were eternal, unbreakable, and priceless. It made people feel that giving a diamond ring wasn't just a tradition, it was a necessity. Sales skyrocketed. To reinforce this idea, De Beers did something even more manipulative. They planted diamonds in Hollywood films, celebrity engagements, and magazine covers. Marilyn Monroe sang "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend."
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
James Bond's villain stole priceless diamonds. Every A-list wedding featured a massive diamond ring. It was social engineering at its finest. And it worked. By the 1950s, over 80% of American engagement rings featured diamonds. But De Beers wasn't done. They still had one more trick to ensure every man spent as much as possible. The biggest question for De Beers was how much should a man spend on an engagement ring? So they created a fake rule, the 2-month salary rule. The rule claimed that a man should spend at least 2 months of his salary on a diamond ring. But where did this rule come from? Well, De Beers invented it. There was no historical basis, no tradition, it was pure marketing manipulation. And yet, millions followed it. Even today, people still believe that an engagement ring must be a diamond and that it must cost thousands. But here's the truth. Diamonds aren't rare. They're artificially controlled. Engagement rings weren't always diamonds, that was De Beers doing. The 2-month salary rule is completely made up. The result? A multi-billion-dollar industry built on psychological manipulation. But what makes this worse is that diamonds aren't even a good investment, because the moment you buy a diamond, its value drops by up to 50%, because De Beers controls the resale market, ensuring that used diamonds never compete with new ones. That's not just a monopoly, that's a financial trap. For centuries, diamonds have symbolized wealth, success, and eternal love. But behind their brilliance lies a history of violence, war, and exploitation. While diamond companies sell the illusion of purity, the reality is far darker. In the late 20th century, the world was forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Diamonds weren't just luxury goods. They were funding brutal conflicts, fueling warlords, and costing countless lives. In the diamond-rich regions of Africa, particularly in Sierra Leone, Angola, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, diamonds were no longer just valuable stones. They became currency for war. Rebel groups seized control of mines, forcing civilians, including children, to dig for diamonds under inhumane conditions. The diamonds they mined weren't going into engagement rings. They were being exchanged for weapons, fueling some of the deadliest civil wars in modern history. The world called them blood diamonds, gems stained with violence. For years, the diamond industry denied responsibility. Companies like De Beers maintained that their supply chains were clean, their diamonds untainted. But leaked reports and investigative journalism painted a different picture. Blood diamonds were entering the market, mixed with legally sourced diamonds, making their way into high-end jewelry stores around the world. The backlash was fierce. As news spread, consumers began questioning the origins of their diamonds, forcing the industry to respond. In 2003, under global pressure, the diamond industry introduced the Kimberley process, a certification system designed to prevent conflict diamonds from reaching the market. It was marketed as a solution, a safeguard against exploitation. But was it really? The Kimberley process had loopholes, massive ones. It only regulated rough diamonds, meaning that once a diamond was cut and polished, its origin became untraceable. Smugglers exploited these weaknesses, laundering blood diamonds into the legal market with falsified paperwork. And while the system claimed to prevent the sale of conflict diamonds, many experts argue that the industry was still complicit, turning a blind eye to how diamonds were really being sourced. The truth was undeniable. Even after the introduction of so-called ethical regulations, blood diamonds still found their way into the hands of consumers. While companies like De Beers rebranded themselves as ethical businesses, the fundamental flaws of the diamond trade remained. But conflict diamonds were only one part of a much larger deception, because even the so-called legitimate diamond trade was built on a foundation of market manipulation. The diamond industry thrives on the illusion of rarity. From the moment a customer walks into a jewelry store, they're led to believe that diamonds are scarce, valuable, and worthy of their sky-high price tags. But what if that scarcity was never real? For over a century, De Beers controlled the diamond market with an iron grip. At its peak, it controlled more than 90% of the world's diamonds. But unlike other commodities, diamonds weren't sold based on supply and demand. They were sold based on perceived scarcity. The strategy was deceptively simple. Diamond mines produced far more diamonds than the market could absorb. If all of them were released at once, prices would plummet. and the illusion of diamonds as a rare luxury would collapse. To prevent this, De Beers stockpiled millions of carats of diamonds in secret vaults, deliberately restricting supply. The diamonds existed, but they weren't for sale. Instead, De Beers carefully released just enough to maintain high prices, ensuring that diamonds always seemed exclusive. It was one of the most effective economic manipulations in history. Consumers, believing diamonds were rare, continued paying exorbitant prices. Even when other companies entered the industry and De Beers lost its total monopoly, the system remained intact. Other major diamond producers, including Russia's Alrosa and Canada's Dominion Diamond Mines, adopted similar strategies, ensuring that diamond supply remained controlled. But this wasn't just about market control. The resale market for diamonds was equally manipulated. A customer who paid thousands for a diamond ring would quickly discover that pawn shops and jewelers offered only a fraction of its original cost. The diamond industry ensured that while buying diamonds was expensive, selling them was nearly impossible. Yet even as these manipulations continued, an even bigger threat loomed on the horizon, one that could destroy the traditional diamond industry forever. For more than a century, the diamond monopoly remained unchallenged, but in recent years, technology has changed everything. The rise of lab-grown diamonds has disrupted the industry in ways De Beers never anticipated. Unlike traditional diamonds, which takes millions of years to form beneath the Earth's surface, lab-grown diamonds can be created in weeks using cutting-edge technology. And these aren't fake diamonds, they're chemically, physically, and optically identical to mined diamonds. The only difference is their origin. For consumers, the advantages are clear. Lab-grown diamonds cost up to 50% less than mined diamonds, eliminating the artificial price inflation. They also bypass the ethical concerns of traditional diamond mining, which is often linked to environmental destruction and human rights abuses. With consumers being more conscious of where their money goes, lab-grown diamonds have become an increasingly attractive alternative. The traditional diamond industry is in panic mode. If diamonds are no longer rare, if they can be created in a lab for a fraction of the cost, then what happens to the value of mined diamonds? De Beers, realizing the existential threat, took an unexpected approach. Instead of fighting lab-grown diamonds, they launched their own synthetic diamond brand, Lightbox Jewelry. But their strategy wasn't about embracing the future, it was about controlling it. By intentionally pricing Lightbox diamonds far lower than high-end lab-grown competitors, De Beers aimed to undercut the entire market, ensuring that synthetic diamonds wouldn't become too profitable for new competitors. It was a desperate attempt to maintain control, but whether or not it will succeed remains uncertain. What is clear is that for the first time in history, the diamond industry faces a future where diamonds are no longer symbols of scarcity, but of technological abundance. For decades, the diamond industry has relied on one thing: psychology. Luxury is not about necessity, it's about perception. From the moment De Beers launched its marketing campaigns, diamonds were never sold based on their actual work. They were sold as a status symbol. Diamonds became a way for people to display wealth, love, and success. The reality is, diamonds don't appreciate in value. Unlike gold, which has an intrinsic market price, diamonds are only worth what the industry says they are. The entire market is a psychological illusion, designed to keep customers spending on something that in practical terms holds little real financial value. And yet, millions continue to buy into the illusion. While De Beers no longer holds a complete monopoly, control of the industry remains in the hands of a few powerful corporations. Companies like Alrosa, Rio Tinto, and Dominion Diamond Mines continue the old tactics, managing supply, setting prices, and maintaining the illusion of rarity. The market has evolved, but the fundamental deception remains unchanged. As consumer trends shift and lab-grown diamonds gain popularity, the future of the diamond industry remains uncertain. The younger generation is less influenced by outdated traditions, and the appeal of a forever diamond is losing its grip. So the real question is, will diamonds hold their value, or will their market collapse under the weight of its own deception? Only time will tell, and a very close future might teach us that a diamond is not forever. The diamond industry has spent billions shaping what you think, but now the truth is out, and shows that the real power in the world isn't what they tell you, it's what they hide. Subscribe now to Empire Secrets and join the movement. Your desire, your empire.